Welcome to the Shift Your Story, Change Your Life podcast. I'm Allie Rose, certified clinical hypnotherapist and subconscious success coach. I help my clients stop self-sabotage and feel safe to create more wealth, worth, and wellness from within. If you find yourself stuck repeating the same unhelpful patterns in your life, health, business, or relationships, even after all the mindset work, this podcast is for you. Each week, you'll hear deep dives into the hidden beliefs shaping your life and live hypnocoaching sessions where someone shifts a block in real time. Because willpower isn't the problem, your subconscious story is. And when you shift it at the root, everything else begins to change. So let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to the Shift Your Story, Change Your Life podcast. In today's episode, you'll hear a powerful hypnocoaching session with our caller, Erin, who came in wanting to understand a pattern she described as a cycle of expansion and despair. 1 minute, her business is thriving, money is flowing, everything feels bright and full of possibility. Then, almost without warning, something inside her seems to pull the emergency brake, and she finds herself right back in fear, desperation, and survival mode. Erin is deeply self-aware, she's a healer herself, and she understands many of the childhood experiences and nervous system patterns that shaped her. But as so many of us discover, knowing where a pattern came from doesn't necessarily stop us from repeating it. Together, we explore why success can feel just as threatening to the nervous system as failure, especially when you grew up believing that safety depended on staying good, managing everyone around you, and keeping life contained inside carefully controlled boxes. As always, portions of this session have been gently edited for privacy and safety, but what remains is the heart of the conversation and the transformation. As you listen, consider: when things begin going well in your life, do you let yourself receive it or start preparing for what might go wrong? Where are you confusing control with safety? And what might become possible if your nervous system finally believed it was safe for life to keep getting better? All right, let's dive in. Welcome to the podcast, Erin. I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm so excited to be here, Allie. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about this cycle of, as you described it, expansion and despair that you find yourself in. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's kind of like a feast or famine thing, where either everything in my life is happy, shiny, going great, or it's like death's door. And I feel like there's like no in between. And I know a little bit from being a healer myself and stuff, like where it comes from and why. But what I feel like is that the things that happen, so for example, if like money goes away or everything feels, desperate or whatever, I don't really feel like that's the problem. I feel like those are like the result of the problem. So what's happening now is that it's almost like I've done so much work on myself that I don't know what the problem is anymore.
Mm.
So I see all of these results happening, like loss of money or the desperation or whatever, but I don't understand anymore why, because it's just so conflated. It's just so many things all at once. So it is a feeling of like everything's going extremely well or extremely bad. And I'm not, part of me when I say I don't know why is like, yeah, you do, but you know what I mean.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, yeah, explain that a little bit more to me about the whole you don't know why, but then you're like, yeah, you do. What is that?
I think there's parts of me that know the childhood cycles and the subconscious reasonings. And because I've done so much work on myself and others, that I'm able to see in a way what led to and leads to the patterns. But when I'm in it, I get into this like apathetic, I don't know. It's like a nervous system thing. My nervous system is so flooded that I just lose all sense of what's going on. And I feel that that's a way for my nervous system and myself to protect myself, because if I feel it all and know it all at once, I don't know what will happen. I'll get so flooded, I don't know, have a mental breakdown or something. But so yeah, that's kind of the feeling is I know some of the reasoning, but also another piece of that is even if you know all the reasons and all the things, I feel like that can sometimes make it worse. Or it's like that doesn't matter. Even if you know all the things, it doesn't really help to make you feel better.
Right. Absolutely. Totally agree. Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned some childhood cycles. So just briefly share a little bit more about those cycles.
Yeah, I think specifically as it applies to this like feast and famine, I grew up in a really for those of us who know trauma language, disorganized attachment household, which is basically I grew up with an alcoholic father and a safe mother. So my mom was like really safe. I mean, she was like the walking on eggshells, kind of like everything's okay energy. But she did help me feel safe in a very chaotic household. My dad was an alcoholic and he not only ran the house like as the masculine, but ran the house as like whatever he was feeling, we all had to feel. He was like the emotional anchor.
Mhm.
So I felt like I didn't have my own emotional life, which I'm a Cancer, I'm Cancerian, I'm feeling. So it's very, if I'm feeling like I can't have my own autonomy in that way, I start to mask or be very high functioning in the way where I will do like, I will like move myself to be like everyone in the room so that I'm safe and everyone else is safe, which is a lot of work when you're 3 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old. So, I grew up trying to manage the emotions of everyone in my family at a very young age, and the disorganized piece comes where with the chaos, it was either everything's great, and my dad would walk in the house after a day of work and be like, "Everything's great," and joy, 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 or it was remorse, desperation because he was an alcoholic. So it was either like everything was great and happy, or we were all on like pins and needles and it was awful. So, and I never knew what to expect. So it was very chaotic and also like, what's going to happen? Nerve wracking. So my nervous system got used to being on high alert. So that's part of it, the happy and the sad and also a big piece of it is that the feast and famine usually comes through with my business first. It's like either I'm making $20,000 a month or I'm making no money and I can't pay rent. And
Mm.
I grew up in a household with my family running a home-owned business out of the dining room. Like they were always home, my parents, and my mom did the bookkeeping. My dad was outside working in the yard. So I never got a break. But also now I run my own business out of my dining room. So I'm seeing a lot of the same reflections of chaos and everything's great or everything's at death's door, like I'm replaying the same scenarios.
And what is your business?
So my business is Air Inspirational. I do psychic mentoring and spiritual coaching, transformational coaching, helping mostly women, but to get into their soul, the soul version of them, get into their soul purpose, release old identities, etc. So basically helping people that are going through what I'm going through right now.
Right, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do whenever we go in is we're going to talk to a part of you because as I'm sure you know, we are many parts inside of one person and sometimes one part gets more activated than another. So we want to talk to the part of you that gets activated when you're experiencing this cycle of expansion despair. But it's very important that we use the language that feels most true for you. So, a couple of things that I've written down are we can talk to the part of you that has created a cycle of expansion and despair, part of you that doesn't feel safe with stability, or a part of you that doesn't feel safe to stay in expansion. If any of those resonate,
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, when you say the part of you that's either scared of expansion or because we all know, like, people that do nervous system work, that if the nervous system is not in alignment with where it thinks you will be in
right.
either happiness or fear around having a lot, we'll try to keep ourselves not having a lot in order to avoid that. So, because I feel like when people say, "I'm scared of failure," I usually think, I feel like more people are scared of success. Failure really because it's like we're used to failure or our nervous systems are like readied for that, but we're not readied for it's like the lottery dynamic of most people that win the lottery either lose it all right away or end up worse than they were before they won the lottery because they don't have the framework to hold that wealth. So yeah, I feel that like, when you said that, that's what made me feel, "Ooh, that part of me that's afraid of the upper limit of getting more or having more than I have ever had before," if that makes
Ok
sense. Yeah.
so the part of you that doesn't feel safe to stay in expansion.
Yes.
Okay. Alright. Are you ready then?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Alright. Alright, so I want you to go ahead and I want you to look up as if you're trying to look into your own eyebrows, keeping your eyes glued to a real or imagined spot overhead. Just breathe in and out. Take another deep breath. Breathe in and out. And each time you blink, that's hypnosis coming upon you. And just one final time, take another deep breath in. As you exhale, just close your eyelids right down, all the way down. So every time I say the words, go deeper, you're just becoming more and more relaxed. So just one more time, go deeper, drift deeper, sink deeper, at least 100 times deeper. That's perfect, Erin. You are responding perfectly, exactly as I knew you would, because I already know that you are incredibly open, receptive, and suggestible, and your mind is incredibly powerful. So now we're going to explore this part of you that doesn't feel safe to stay in expansion. So I want you to just take a deep breath in. And I want you to just imagine that you've gone inside yourself. You've turned your eyes inward. You're still Aaron, but you're able to scan your body now until you find this part of you that doesn't feel safe to stay in expansion and is playing a certain role, function, purpose, or intention in your life. So, when you notice where you carry this part of you, can you tell me where you hold it in your body?
At first, I felt her kind of jumping around and hiding, like, in all over the place,
Hmm.
and now I'm feeling a sort of unsettling, but, like, tingly feeling in my lower belly, so that's kind of where I feel like she's hanging out.
Okay. So, I want you to now imagine for a moment that you can just reach in there gently and pull her out of you. This part of you that doesn't feel safe to stay in expansion. And can you give her a color, texture, shape, or size? What does she look like?
I'm feeling the energy of yellow and, like, a bright sun. It's almost like a bright sun that's been either tarnished or darkened, so she's still, like, bright and shiny in there, but has, like, an energy of, like, shadow over her.
Mm. And how do you feel as you're looking at this part of you that doesn't feel safe to stay in expansion?
I feel like she's protective, but she doesn't know why. Like, I
What?
see now that I'm seeing, because I saw the yellow and now I'm seeing, like, there's a picture of me when I'm wearing a yellow dress as a young, like, I guess maybe 2 or 3 years old, and that's how I'm seeing her. So she's kind of, like, understands that she's protecting me somehow, but doesn't know why. She's like, "I don't know what I'm doing or why."
What emotions come up in you as you look at her?
Well, the first thing that comes up is I wanna protect her.
Mhm.
Like, when you were saying to hold her and, you know, either pull her out or move her, I felt like, "No, I can't do that." Like, I don't want to. So I'm feeling very protective. And also there's a feeling of guilt, like I put shadow energy on her, and she's like this happy young child that just wants to be free, and I feel this, like, heaviness of guilt, like I'm putting this on her.
Mm. What are you putting on her?
Like, that this feeling of being afraid of expansion or all of the feast and famine energy that I'm feeling, like,
Mhm.
yeah, it just makes me feel like, I'm either blaming her or putting it all on her or making her suffer because of it.
Okay. Well, it's important to remember, obviously, that every part of us believes it's doing something good. And so it's here for
Yeah,
a purpose, right?
yeah.
So I want you to go ahead and I want you to ask her, what is your role in my life? Why are you here?
She's saying to remind you of your light.
So, how does keeping you afraid to expand remind you of your light?
It's almost like it keeps me in one expression of myself, like the feeling of expanding, and I don't know what part of me feels like this, but the feeling of expanding makes me feel like I'll lose that, like that light.
Okay. If I expand, I'll lose the light.
Yeah, like if I stay with this part of myself, then I'll be able to see my that bright yellow light of myself. But if I expand or go elsewhere, it will like I will have to walk away from that.
Okay. I want you to go ahead and ask this part of you that's afraid of expansion, what is your function in my life? How are you helping me?
The biggest thing that comes up is that she's helping me stay in control,
Mhm.
like helping me because if everything around me is comfortable and I know it and I understand it and I can explain it, then there's nothing to fear.
Okay. All right. You're doing great. She's doing great. I want you to go ahead and ask her, what is your purpose in my life?
It's interesting. I'm feeling a bit of confusion. Like, it's almost like I'm feeling like her purpose is to help me see my light and expand.
Mhm.
But then because of the wanting to stay in control thing, I can't. So it's this weird, like, back and forth. It's like I'm seeing like tug of war.
Mhm. Okay. I want you to go ahead and ask her, what is your only intention in my life?
To help you expand safely. Or it's like to help you expand in a way that you, it's like she's saying in a way that you deem safe, which shows me that like safety isn't one thing, it's what we believe it is.
Mhm. Okay. I want you to ask her, why don't you feel safe to expand?
Interesting and kind of weird, but when I ask, why don't you feel safe to expand? She says, because you don't. It's almost like I see us as, I'm seeing it like, if we're talking like a metaphor, something like two people that love each other very much, but are almost in like a trauma bond where it's like a mirror image where you're either the same or it's kind of like a twin flame within yourself sort of energy where it's like you're the same being and part of you wants to expand and the other part of you is like that's not safe. Then the other part of you like is like but yes it is and it's like well so it's this weird almost conflict but I don't feel like it's conflict because it doesn't feel uncomfortable. It just feels like confusing.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
It's almost like this part of me that wants to expand comes with a kill switch. It's like, "Let's do this." And then there's, like, an internal thing that says, "Let's push this red button, we can't do it."
Well, let's talk to the kill switch part then.
Yeah.
Is that is that not the bright sunny yellow part?
No, I feel like the bright sunny yellow part is, like this is what I'm saying, this bright yellow sunny part of me that wants to expand, and the kill switch is, like, this little red, like, up and down thing, like a light switch, like, inside of that part. So it's not it's, like, in her, but it's not of her. Does that make sense?
Okay. So, is it a separate part or is it like could we talk to that part?
Yeah, I feel like it's part of her, but it's like it's like a just in case mechanism. Like just in case we expand and everything goes wrong, we have this to like either fall back into. I'm trying to feel if it's like a separate thing or
Mhm.
It's almost like an embedded safety mechanism.
Sure. And it's protecting you from what?
It's almost like, so this part of me is to help me expand safely.
Mhm.
And the kill switch is saying that it's almost like you can expand safely to a certain point, but then if it either goes too far or gets too scary, I'm gonna like blow it all up. And I think it's like it just keeps coming back to me. Like what I'm feeling it as is as control. Like
Mhm.
if there's too much expansion, it becomes out of control. Like too much work, too much um, things to do, too many people to collaborate with or talk to, too many things, and it just feels like chaotic. And so the kill switch kind of gets pulled to say like, nope, before that can happen, we need to stop it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to tune into that part of you, and I want you to ask it, when did you first come into my life?
I'm feeling and seeing the number 2. It's interesting, like, I'm feeling at the age of 2, but my, like, conscious brain is, like, questioning that. Like, "How do you know that?" But I
Mm,
also know that the subconscious is always right.
yeah, but I was gonna say, let's not question it. If that's what's coming up, then let's just allow it to come forward.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, what was going on in your life at 2 years old?
I was learning the dynamic of family, of relationships, of like, what's coming up the biggest above family relationships and how is household.
Mhm,
Like, I was learning, like, the roles within the household, not just humans or people.
mhm, okay. And what did you learn about your role?
I'm feeling that it was to, like, be good
Mhm,
and to obey and to be a good girl.
mhm, okay. Because if you didn't play that role, then what would happen?
Then there would be more emotional turmoil.
Mhm,
Another thing that's coming up is that I feel like as this 2-year-old, I feel like my dad wanted a boy.
mhm,
And so it feels a bit like I have to be this good girl, but I also have to be this boy that my dad wants. So I'm very conflicted by that.
mhm, okay, okay. Yeah, so what did that cause you to believe about yourself, the world, or other people when at 2 years old, you were kind of learning this dynamic of, "I need to be the good girl, I need to obey."
First thing it showed me is that I needed to manage everything, like manage my identity, manage how I looked to people and in my role in my household so that I would maintain that good girl self. And I learned control, there to be able to like act a certain way or be a certain way or obey a certain way in order to fit that role.
Mm, yeah. Because as you said, if you didn't control yourself in some certain way, if you didn't manage yourself to be a certain way, then what?
What I'm feeling is like then the people in the dynamic, in this case, my mom and dad, would feel like it's almost like I was protecting them. Like if they want this dynamic or want it to look this way, I need to be this way to make them okay, would see their own wrongdoings. Like it would
Mhm.
remind them of their own, how they were either being good parents or not.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned this word control a couple of times throughout our session, and at the beginning of our time together, when we were talking consciously, you said that because your dad was an alcoholic, the household was very uncertain. There could be high highs, low lows. And then you also mentioned that this part is here in some ways to control because if there's too much expansion, too many people, too many things to do, that feels out of control. It feels to me that there's some sort of parallel between or some sort of connection between what you experienced as a child of needing to control and the highs and the lows of dad and you needing to manage in some ways to control who you were in order to manage the household dynamics. Does that resonate at all?
Yes, I feel like, it created in me not so much desire, but like an urge, like that I had to, because at the age of, let's say, 2 or younger, that I had to like manage all of this. And so it created this energy in me that I have to like continue to do that. Like my whole life, like I can only live in boxes of control or managing or else, you know?
Right. Right. Okay. So can you understand why this part of you doesn't feel safe to stay in expansion?
Yeah, it feels like there's a bunch of boxes with locks on them or a bunch of like little manageable pieces. And so when myself, no matter what age or part of me is running around trying to manage all these parts, there's no room to do anything else.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's what it feels like.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and that worked, right, for you to manage and to control and to, as you said, I can only live inside of these boxes of control or managing. It worked for a while, but I'm curious, do you feel like that's working for you now?
I feel like it's keeping the dynamic of, it's almost like it's keeping the dynamic of contrived safety,
Mhm.
of like the safety that I created as a young child, but it's not the reality.
Right.
Like in reality, what I feel like is as I expand and if I expand,
Mhm.
I'm able to meet whatever challenges come from that.
Mhm.
And I'm capable. And so it's almost like if I let the parts of me know that are trying to control and manage that, even if I expand and let's say something scary happens, quote unquote, because of all the work that we've all done together to survive and support each other, it's almost like even if big expansion comes, we can manage it because of all the managing that we've been doing. It's almost like using this managing that has maybe not worked for me to like help me.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I want you to tune back into that part that's been keeping you from expanding more fully. And I want you to tune in and see, is it ready to release a bit? Is it ready to allow you to expand?
I feel like yes, because I'm seeing the part of me that wants to expand as that 2-year-old version of me with the yellow dress, like happy and jumping, and that the little red kill switch is the part that's scared and trying to keep everything safe and saying like there's always a back door that we can escape.
Right.
And so when I talk to the 2-year-old version of me and ask her like how would it feel to like release that switch? And I'm asking the switch too so it doesn't feel it cuz I sometimes feel like when we're either letting go of or talking to parts of us about like, do you feel okay to go? It almost feels like we're pushing it away or abandoning it.
Right.
Um,
You don't have to get rid of it, but here's my thing. We need to give it a new role in your life because
yeah,
the way that it's operating right now is that it's not necessarily working for you.
yeah,
Then it's this you start getting success, things start flowing, you start getting in that vibe, things are going well, and then it's all of a sudden the kill switch comes in
yeah,
and you go back down to ground zero, low, low, low.
yeah,
Because these, right?
yeah. And that's why I like seeing it. It's kind of cool to see it from this perspective because it doesn't feel all encompassing or like it's part of one being or one identity. It's like this version of me that's safe and happy to expand with this one little part that's the kill switch. And so if I separate those
Mhm.
and give the kill switch a new role, then the part of me that's, bright and yellow and shiny can jump around and run around without having that just in case back door, you know?
Right. So, what role could we give this kill switch? Instead of this role of kill switch, what role could be upgraded to?
I feel like it could be a switch on into, like, joy and free like, I keep hearing freedom. Like, if we switch instead of it being, like, red, like, switching it down to say, "Shut off, shut off, shut off." It's like, instead it becomes like we're turning it on to be like, we're ready. We're ready for happiness, joy, money, abundance, expansion, and with the knowledge that there's all of the expansion or the good or the bad that we've experienced before, we have easily been able to integrate. It may take like stretching or getting comfortable with it, but it's never like extreme, like I can or I can't.
Right. Right. Okay. I love that. So, what color would this new switch we're turning on? What would it be?
I'm seeing it as like this. Well, first I'm seeing it like a bright Kelly green,
Hmm.
which I feel like goes with this, even though we're kind of separating it from the yellow version of me, that bright yellow expansion piece. It feels like these colors go together like a flower almost, like this bright yellow flower with the green stem or the green field around it. It feels like they can benefit each other, but not be like in this trauma bond. They don't have to always be connected, or it's either one or the other, or one is protecting the other. It's like they can each be their own separate role or identity.
Okay. Does that feel good?
Yeah, it feels like freedom for both parties versus it almost felt like before there's two versions of us in one body trying to like and we're fighting. And this
Mhm.
feels like now two expansive versions of, of kind of the same thing, but it feels like freedom and expansion without fear or I need to control this or if it goes too far or expand too much, there's fear there. Like I don't feel that anymore.
Okay. Perfect. Wonderful. All right. Well, I want you to now just take a moment to allow that part to recenter within your body in whatever way feels good for you. You can let me know whenever you feel like that's complete.
Cool. It feels like first that I was almost playing like Ring Around the Rosie. It was like me and the yellow dress part of me and this switch. And then all of a sudden the switch started growing into like this huge vine, like this green vine growing from the ground, like up into the heavens.
Mm. Mhm.
And so it reminds me of this expansion or freedom where instead of it being a switch on or off, it's like this version of me in this yellow dress can like climb up it. So it's like they're both together and supporting each other.
Mm.
Yeah, it was just kind of a cool vision.
I love that. Okay. How do you feel in your body?
I feel lighter. I feel like before I could see like darkness and shadows, and now I'm seeing like growth and the green of like a new plant or grass growing, and this yellow that's like flowers blooming. And I feel like the stories that I was seeing before, like my family dynamic, like I was seeing it in those boxes. Like this is like mom and dad in the home. This is me like in my room. I was seeing everything very like separated out. And now it's almost like that's dissipated. And all I can see is this big, happy like meadow with yellows and greens and flowers. It feels easier.
Hmm. Okay. Wonderful. I want you to go ahead and take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, you are letting go, erasing, eradicating, eliminating, and releasing those old beliefs. They're all behind you now. And now, as you are seeing this, believing this, feeling wonderful, amazing, and free, I'm going to count you back to full awareness. With each number, you will become more aware of your surroundings, bringing this feeling back to the room. So, on the count of one, you're becoming more aware. On the count of two, you're aware of the room and the sounds around you. On the count of 3 and 4, go ahead and take in another deep breath. And on the count of 5, whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the room.
I open my eyes and the first thing I see is my cat staring at me. It was wonderful. I don't know, I saw a weird image, but I'm just gonna say it. I felt like, when you go to the car wash or whatever and you see, like, all the soap and dirt and everything, and then it's just, like, and, like, cleaned off? That's what I'm seeing. Like, it goes from, like, stuff and mud and stuff everywhere to, like, completely clear.
Yeah, good, good.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It was my favorite part was how everything evolved as we went. How it wasn't just, we're seeing one thing and then it becomes another thing. It was like we saw one thing and then it expanded and then we saw another piece of it and then I saw like visions from childhood and then so it was like cool mixture of play and envisioning and it allowed me to kind of get different information and messages than I would with myself or even other coaches and supporters.
Yeah,
So it was cool to be able to kind of like it just felt like a big playground that I could like, "Oh, what's this thing? What's this thing?" Yeah, experience release in a lot of different areas.
yeah. Good,
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, thank you
Mm.
so much for trusting me to guide you through this process, and
Yes.
I'll check in with you in a couple days to see how you're doing, okay?
Okay, that sounds wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Take good care of yourself for the rest of the day, okay?
I will. Thank you.
Right, bye-bye.
Bye.
I want to thank Erin so much for her vulnerability and willingness to share part of her story with us. What stayed with me most was the image of that bright, sunny little girl in the yellow dress, full of light and completely ready to run, play, grow, and expand, but carrying a small red kill switch inside of her, just in case life became too big, too chaotic, or too difficult to control. Because that switch was never there to ruin Erin's life or sabotage everything she had built. It was created by a very young part of her who learned that safety came from being good, obeying, managing herself, and paying close attention to everyone else's emotions. And when you grow up in an unpredictable environment, control can begin to feel like protection. But eventually, the very strategy that helped you survive can become the thing that keeps turning off the life you're trying to create. I loved watching Erin give that switch a new purpose. Instead of shutting down her expansion, it became something she could turn on, a green light for joy, freedom, abundance, and growth. As you reflect on this episode, I want to invite you to ask yourself, where do you tend to hit the kill switch when life starts going well? What are you afraid might happen if you allow yourself to have more without immediately preparing to lose it? And could the part of you that has been managing, controlling, or holding back be ready for a new role? If this episode brought one of your own patterns into focus, I'd love to help you explore that. You can learn more or apply for a hypno-coaching session by visiting shiftyourstorypodcast.com or using the links in the show notes. I'm sending you so much love and gratitude. Until next time. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us today for this episode of the Shift Your Story, Change Your Life podcast. If today's conversation sparked something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Feel free to send me a message on social media. I'm at the Allie Rose on both Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to be coached on a future episode or explore what it would look like to work with me one-on-one, head over to shiftyourstorypodcast.com. And if you never want to miss an episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a rating and review. It helps more people find this work. Until next time, keep shifting, keep growing, and most importantly, I want you to remember that your story isn't set in stone. You always have the power to shift it.